out here on the Fox River in De Pere catching springtime pre-spawn walleyes, and we're using a bunch of baits from 6th Sense, their lipless crankbait series. They've got some of the best colors for this system, and we're going to show you here, but I've got a fish on. I'm going to try and get this one in the net, and we'll get her in the boat, and we'll show you what we do. This girl here looks to be spawned out. Yep. Probably about a 24-ish or so, but as you can see, her belly is gone. She is spawned out. So she's done her thing, but we're still going to put her back, and we'll catch her again next year. Alright, so this is the bait that's been catching all the fish. This is the Duke from 6th Sense, and that is the Surge Shad. One thing I really love about any type of bait for walleyes is anything with an orange belly. This happens to have a nice holographic silver flash, blue top, orange belly, no fancy paint jobs, much of anything. Represents, you know, the closest thing we have to a shad, but when this thing is ripping through the water, you get that orange belly, and it just gives it that little bit of flash, and gets these walleyes triggered. My boy got a 27. We've been catching a bunch of mid-20s, and the night's just getting started here, so hopefully we can put a 30 in the boat, and we're going to keep casting these guys. We are hooked up again. I have got good sized walleye. Let's see what we got going on. Oh yeah. Nice big fat female. Grab that. Got a little lucky on that. The bait got caught in the mouth, but that is a big fat female walleye. Oh yeah, that's a tanker. This is why we come up here and do this. You can't do this consistently on the Wolf River like you can up on Green Bay. I need the pliers. Eli, can you get me pliers? There we go. Yeah, buddy. Pretty fish. Nothing better than nighttime walleyes. You never know what you're going to get. We're going to get a quick measurement on her, a couple photos, and we're going to put her back. Take this guy off. Ugh. Come on, girl. About 26 inches. So Eli still got the big fish for the night. What's happening, everybody? Frank, how's it going? Bob, Tim, Jeff, John, Mr. James, how's it going, guys? We're just waiting for, we'll get started right at 8 o'clock. Critter is going to be joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about Party on Poygan that's coming up this weekend. For everybody that was tuning in a little early, got to see a little bit of spring fishing from last year. I think we're going to be in the boats here pretty soon on that Fox River chasing walleyes before we know it with this weather forecast. Not too happy about it, but what are you going to do? If you can't beat her, join her, I guess. But we got some time yet. We'll be ice fishing for a little bit. All right, I got the thumbs up from Critter, so we'll wait to get him on board here, and we'll get started. Can everybody hear okay tonight? Sounds good. Everybody can hear. That's a good thing. And there he is.
How's it going, Troy?
Good, Critter. How are you, bud?
Not too bad.
That's awesome. Well, we're a couple minutes early. We'll get started a little bit early, I guess. The first thing is let's talk a little bit about what's happening out on the Poygan system, the Bago system. What do you have for reports, and what can you tell everybody?
I guess I'm hearing about the same as you've seen is, a lot of 9 to 12 inches out there of ice. It's the thin ice that we're concerned about. Most of it's good ice, but there's few spots where we had no water, or we had no ice, and it froze over a little bit, and now it's starting to unthaw a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm going to be out tomorrow. If I find anything different other than the waypoints we posted earlier on, that spot that's out off of Spruce or to the west of Spruce, that's kind of right dead center in the middle of the horseshoe, did cap over. But now you're going to have some warm weather, and just stay clear of those waypoints. And if there's any Christmas trees or anything out by any of the landings, what I'll do is, if I can find some, I'll take some and go throw some out over those open spots, or at least get something close. But when I was out there the last few days, I haven't seen any Christmas trees. So if anybody knows of any anywhere, let me know, and I'll gladly go put them out there.
I heard there's that one tree. They did put a tree in between the launches there, between Nofke's and Spruce. There is a tree laying down there where it was a little thinner. I
Okay.
guess I guess they put that out this afternoon.
Okay.
But what the crazy part is, they had 10 inches, and then all of a sudden, boom! It dropped down to like 4 or 5 inches, and then they ran back into 10. So that's that spot that kind of opened up a little bit.
Yep. And I know that spot that's over in Norwegian is right on top of the artesian well.
Yep.
For anybody that doesn't know that area, just stay away. I mean,
It,
that
it,
whole side of the lake is full of springs, and if you don't know where you're going, that's just one spot. There's plenty of springs that work over on that side of the lake, and if you find one, you're gonna go down. It's like a minefield over there.
Poygan really is pretty simple. If you take a look, the last couple of years we've had a little thinner ice. All the weak spots are in the same places. I put a little X on my map at the shop there, and it's like I'm putting the X right where it was the year before. So there's reasons why these things are there. So as you get used to fishing these lakes, what happens this year, just make mental note for the next year, because it'll probably be the same spot. Now, in different years, when you have lots of ice, what happens is you get those shoves, and it makes it very easy to see. Because we don't have a ton of ice or a ton of snow to show, now we're just kind of guessing that there's ice there, but it's the same places. So that's the biggest problem with this year, is just because there hasn't been a ton of ice, we haven't got any shoving. So now it looks like good ice, and next thing you know, you're on 4 or 5 inches of ice.
Yep. And what's crazy is when I've been pretty much every square inch of that lake the last 2 weeks, and there's some spots out there that look super sketchy. Like, your ass starts to pucker as you get close, and get out and take a spud bar or take an auger and start to drill, and there's 10, 12 inches. So it just goes to show that even though ice looks good, doesn't mean it is. Even though it looks bad, doesn't mean it is. You really, if you're going to go out and you're going to explore, don't trust what anybody else is going to tell you. Figure it out yourself. Test every piece. If it looks bad, test it. It's the best thing you can do, is don't take somebody's word for it. Granted, I'm being open and honest with everybody, but that doesn't mean that what I'm telling you is gospel, or what Critter says or any of these other guys say. If you run into an area that you second guessing yourself, test it yourself. I mean, it's the best thing to do. Drill a hole.
That's the beauty part of all these electric augers now. It's so easy just to check. The old days of pulling the jiffy out and making sure it starts, and then get it warmed up, and then drill a hole. Nowadays, it's just so simple to drill a hole. So I always, drill more holes and be safe.
Yep. So Party on Poygan this weekend, 15th year. I can't believe it's been 15 years.
Can you believe it? 15 years ago, Troy, we sat down and drew this up a little bit.
I'm glad to see it's still going. And that event it's just a lot of fun for people.
It is a lot of fun, and the nice thing of the event is it brings a lot of families out. A lot of locals get out, and with this year being kind of like the first time everybody's going to kind of get out, it should be a pretty good event.
Sure. So some questions that we have. Let's see. I guess let's just run through the events. Saturday, when can people get tickets? How much are tickets? How does everything work? What's the prizes? Let's go through it all.
Sure. So tickets are pretty simple. It's $25 for a ticket. It's one ticket per fish. We do have the 5 for 100, so you can buy 5 tickets and you get one free. We do have 2 contests: the all species fishing contest. That's walleye, white bass, and panfish. Walleyes do have to be 14 inches. All the fish are based on weight, similar to other tournaments. So when you catch a fish, you bring it in, and whatever that weight falls into places is what you get. Prize payouts are like a 1 through 10, and then it goes 15, 20, 25, 50, all the way down to 200th place. So we'll give out probably 10,000 plus in prizes. You have 4 chances to win $1,000, and because this is our 15th year, we thought 1,500 for 15th place. So if you catch an average walleye or a pretty big white bass, that's going to put you right at that 15th spot.
Sure. So just to recap, 14-inch minimum.
Yep.
Is there a maximum for
There,
size
there
walleye.
is not a maximum, and the reason why I haven't put that in is because in the last 14 years, we've never had more than 20 walleyes, or maybe even 15 walleyes over 20 inches. So I didn't feel like we've had a cause of concern. Obviously, if we ever see that, we'll definitely put that in.
Sure. All right.
And I have heard that there's been some pretty nice fish caught. You
There
know,
has been.
there has. And the beauty part of, as a tournament fisherman myself, if I caught a 25-inch walleye and couldn't bring it in to brag a little bit, I'd feel a little bit hurt. So I kind of like the fact that we see a couple big fish. Now, obviously, if I ever see that go the wrong way, we'll make an adjustment like Bad on Bago did. But at this point, the tournament's small enough, and the fish size haven't ever really concerned me at all. It's going to be over 14. Let's keep those little guys out there and let them come for next year and let them grow.
That's awesome.
Fish sales. You can buy tickets at Critters or Woodeyes. It's open. They're selling them right now. It'll go till Friday at 8 p.m. The store closes. You still can buy them at the bar, and ticket sales close at 7 a.m. when the fishing tournament starts on Saturday.
Okay, so if people want to go and they're looking for bait, they can stop by your place. What time are you going to open up on Saturday morning?
Be there at 4:30.
Okay.
And I typically, we're open at 4:30, but that's for the guys that have been on the lake a few times. I'd still recommend, if anybody hasn't been on the lake, kind of wait till 6:37, where she starts to get light, so you can get out there safely.
Sure. So parking's probably going to be a little bit of an issue this year for the simple fact that nobody's driving on the lake.
No.
There are a few guys that have driven and parked off some of the landings. I do not recommend that with this warm weather.
No, especially if you put a lot of cars next to each other, that isn't a good idea either.
Yep. The county landing has a crack that is literally right off the edge of the landing. And, with this warm weather, I can pretty much guarantee that thing's going to open up a little bit. And that runs the whole length of the shoreline there. So if guys start parking and putting that much more weight on, you only got 10 inches of ice, 12 inches ice maybe. It's not meant to support the amount of weight that we have this year with, how little ice we have. So Nofke's, I'm sure, will have plenty of space. You've got Captain's Cove. You've got the county landing. There's Boom Bay, the Duck Inn, Alder Creek. All those spots have plenty of parking. So guys, just try and spread it out the best you can and not, congest one or two spots because that's all it's going to do is destroy the landings with this warm weather. So just be smart about it.
Yeah, and it looks like the next 4 days, hopefully we don't get the rain kind of comes back. And, if you're watching the weather like we are, it looks like it's going to rain a lot. Then all of a sudden, the next day it looks like, oh, it's going to go north or south of us. Kind of looks like it's going to go that way. But at least it looks, the next 2 days it's not going to hit 32. And then after that, she'll be hitting 32 at night again to kind of fix whatever we lost. So
Sure.
Up until the next 5-6 days, looks like the landings are going to be fine and the lake's going to be fine. After that, we need a cold spell after this. A 10-day forecast doesn't look good.
It doesn't.
So I'm pretty happy that the tournament's this weekend. We got that cold front came through last week. It made some good ice. It's actually really nice ice right now.
It's flat. It's pretty easy to get around out there, even for guys that want to walk. But here's what I'm going to tell you. And like I said, I've drilled every square inch of that lake for the most part. If you see spots that have really white, smooth snow, if you have anything bigger than an ATV, big UTVs, I've seen a couple small cars driving out there, stay off of those areas, drive around them. Those spots, even as of, today, are still only putting out maybe 5-6 inches of ice.
Yeah.
Those were the open water pockets that were out there that froze after all that snow came. For the most part, the lake is, and you'll see it, it's kind of got like a yellow hue to it. And it's all like kerneled and kind of looks like rotten cottage cheese, right? On the surface. And all that was that 8 to 10, 12 inches of snow that we got that froze instantly. And we've got 6-8 inches of frozen snow, and then underneath that about 4 to 6 of clear ice. So there's good ice underneath that white stuff, but guys, do not take any vehicles out there. Anybody that wants to send Don Herman a nice check, feel free to drive around. But ATVs, snowmobiles, UTVs, just kind of be careful and watch out for some of those weaker spots.
I did forget to mention our northern contest as well. So a northern is a different ticket per contest. It does fall in the $25 or 5 for 100. And on the biggest fish is $1,000. And then if you catch a fish, you get into $100 drawings. Now in the past, we've paid everybody that caught a fish.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. And this year, it's pretty important. I don't know about if you've been northern fishing at all, but they've been crushing them. Yeah. I've had multiple people tell me they had 13, 15, 16 northerns in an outing, and that's how that's as fun as any other fish.
Yep.
There's any fish out there, and that's a lot of activity. And that's a great family way. Throw some tip-ups out, throw the football around, and run for that flag.
Even the walleyes are biting like crazy on tip-ups this year.
Yeah.
It's been an incredible bite the last,
I think
2
a
weeks.
lot of that, Troy, and I think you probably see this too, being an early ice fisherman like you are, is without those trucks running around, it's kept those walleyes not run. They're not being chased in schools around the lake. They're kind of sitting a little bit more. They're acting more like normal fish, feeding than they are just hearing all that noise. They're not pressured.
Yep.
So as much as I think it'd be nice if we had 12 more inches ice. If you're an ice fisherman, this is actually what you want, because the fish are biting better. There's less traffic out there, and I think you'll see that our numbers will be higher in fish registration, even though our probably overall numbers will be a little bit lower.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of walleyes caught. I think you're going to see a lot of walleyes registered. There are some good perch fishing out there. The one thing, out of the thousands of holes we've drilled already this year, I have yet to catch a white bass.
I know, and
I
that's
don't know where those things are. I know I'm marking them, but they're not feeding. So, boy, if anybody's got any tips for white bass, I'll trade you some walleye spots.
Right.
So we after the event, or people you can start fishing at 7:00. What time do they have to be in line or two critters to weigh their fish?
Have to be in the weigh-in line by 4:00.
Okay.
And then we do have a chili cook-off going at during the day. That way, 3:00 you get to come sample some chili, vote for your winner, and that'll all kind of finish up at about 4. And then at 6:00 we'll do all the announcements.
Okay.
So
what time can they start bringing fish in?
9:00.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have Star 6-9 playing again. They start at 7:30.
All right. And they'll play till when?
I think we kick them out probably around 12:30.
Okay.
We figure if you start fishing at 6:00 in the morning, by 12:00, it's a long day.
Hey, you're underestimating the Wisconsin people.
That's true enough.
We do this stuff every day, man. All right, so that kind of pretty much answers. If anybody's got any questions, now's the time to ask. We got Critter on there. Again, it's open. You've got a pike contest. Now, do they need a separate ticket for the pike?
Need a separate ticket.
Okay.
So we have a pike contest and an all-species fishing contest ticket. And you can combine them. So if a guy wants 5 for 100, he wants one pike for that chance, you can do that.
There you go. How about carp?
No carp, no catfish. Damn. I know. Those things won the tournament a couple times, and people were kind of mad at me for it. So I'm like, all right.
I caught a carp the other day, or is it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. It had to have been 20, 25 pounds. Just a monster. In the lip, he ate it, and it was crazy. We had a heck of a time getting his head turned up an 8-inch hole. It was a beast. All right, so that pretty much answers everything that's going on for Party on Poygan. You guys will have food, drinks, I'm sure, at
Oh yeah. What is prepared for it? We'll have some concessions out in the range. and of course you got the barn girl right there.
All right. Let's see. Any deals happening right now in the store? I know you've got a pretty good selection of all the 2B and Elliott rods. Pretty
Yep.
much all the good baits that are happening, that's working out there right now. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the best bait for us has been a number 3 hammered gold or silver Swedish pimple, or any chrome clown jig and wraps in a number 3 as well.
That's been what's been flying off the shelves. You got it. You got it right on head. Yeah, we have being that it's been a little slower ice fishing season. Of course, anybody's looking for any ice electronics or shacks, any stuff. It's all on sale. Of course, we got the 2B Elliott rods all there, all the reels to match for it. The store's pretty full of ice fishing stuff. Being it's been a little bit smaller, so it's time. It's a good time to get a good deal.
Yep, perfect. Let's see, what else do we got? Any party on Poygan apparel or anything that you got?
I do. We have a pretty cool sweatshirt this year. It's the 15th anniversary. I should have been wearing it tonight. It says it's got our Poygan logo, of course, with the fish hole in the beer, which is a classic. And on the back, it says the party before the battle.
There you go. Awesome. Well, anything else to add, Critter?
No, thanks for having me, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good event. Like I say, this is one of the first years that this is almost like first ice for a lot of guys. Just because they're so used to being to wait for the vehicle traffic, and that's just not coming. So they're all adjusting, grabbing those wheelers. So it should be a really good event, and a lot of the ticket sales right now I see as more of a family event, which is what we designed this whole contest for. So it should be a good event, and the calls I'm getting and talking to people that have been fishing is, they're not catching a ton of fish, but they are going home with all their walleyes, and that's what you're seeing too. So it's a lot of those 15 to 19 inches, which is a perfect fish. And that's good to see. I know there's a lot of small fish out there. They caught all those earlier, probably about 2 weeks ago. A lot of those came through. So it seems like that mid class is sitting there right now. So I expect it to be a really good year.
Nice. Jeff Craig asked if the ticket sales are down this year.
Ticket sales are a little bit down this year, but we're all last minute shoppers too. So 90% of my shoppers or my ticket sales are done Thursday and Friday. So I'll have a much better idea where sales sit after Thursday night. Usually I think we usually sell, believe it or not, we sell usually about 1,100, 1,200 tickets. And I think I sell 600 to 700 on Friday. That's crazy. It's 1 day event, 1 day away, and half the contest is determined in 1 day. So it's always tough for me to gauge, how many tickets or where we're sitting at for the event a week from now. I'm like, well, I remember last year kind of worrying about this same thing. So I don't worry anymore. I just know it's going to, the contest is going to be good. The one thing we do is we advertise, all of our prizes are based on 500 tickets sold. And last year we gave away the advertised price amount of the advertised prizes. And then we, any extra over that, we just put into a pot in goods. So last year we gave out $10,000 in prizes and $10,000 in cash.
Awesome.
So that's a good, I think that's a plus, but I always put that number low enough so even on maybe a poorer year, we're still gonna honor our prize money. So at least that's my hope.
Very good. And then a couple just quick notes. Parking for you guys. Are you going to have parking in the rear again?
Yes, we did get that. We were smart enough when all that snow came that we brushed it all off, so the ground froze up good, so we can fit probably about, I would say 100 cars in back. Of course, we got a big parking lot, and of course the streets around us. We can fill, I don't know, I've had probably, that 1 year I think we had 800 in the range, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that you did have to walk a little bit for, but I don't ever expect to see that crowd again unless I bring a big band back in.
Hey, we started it off the first year with Vic Farrar, and we packed that place.
Yeah, we did. That was where we had the counters out just so that I wouldn't get in trouble from the fire department.
We got to do that again, man. We got to do a big one.
It was a little tough on the building and the staff. I'll say it took a week to get the smell of fish and alcohol off all the range animals and all that. I kind of like I like the big event like that, but I don't want all the work afterwards either. You know, that happy
Uh,
medium is where I like to sit.
so guys looking for bait. You're gonna have everything they need. They got spikes, waxworms, minnows, everything.
Yep, I got the bait guys coming. They're actually making a special trip tomorrow because we did really well today. We weren't expecting it. I got the guys coming Wednesday, Thursday, and then they're coming Friday and Saturday. So I got my bait guy coming every day.
That's
So
awesome.
we will not run out.
Good deal. Again, critters will be open at 4:30 on Saturday morning. They will be closing at 8 o'clock on Friday night, and you can get tickets.
After that,
Um,
at Woodeye Bar and Grill.
yep, you can get tickets all the way up until 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. After that, you are SOL and just go out and fish, I guess, after that.
That's right.
Very good. Well, Critter, thanks, and we will see you this weekend. Good luck to everybody, and good luck to the to you guys there for hosting, and hopefully everything goes pretty smooth, and we don't see anybody go swimming.
That's right. Take care,
Uh,
Troy. Thank you.
one quick or a couple questions. Do fish have to be alive?
Pretty tough to keep fish alive. Now I do have an experienced crew that do the weigh-ins. That is my bad on Bago crew. They come in and do all the weigh-ins. So they do cut tails, and they are the judges if they like the fish or not. So if they see a fish that's been frozen thawed, they know, they know what it looks like. They're professionals, and they are the judges. But as far as ice fishing goes, it's impossible to keep fish alive. So
Yep.
no.
Yep. Just don't be stupid, guys. It's a fun event. To
And
cheat for
the
fifteen
key
hundred
the key with
dollars.
our tournament is the biggest fish isn't going to win you the biggest prize. It's a fish. So go
Yep.
out, catch a perch, catch a crappie. A bluegill has won some big money in the past. Just catching a fish gets you entered.
That was the whole point of designing both Battle on Bago and Party on Poygan. When we set and wrote these rules, it was set so you cannot. It's like impossible to cheat.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to cheat to catch the biggest fish, so be it, because you're not going to win the biggest prize.
Yep.
The biggest prizes are going to be randomly down further, and you just catch a fish, be honest, come in and register it, and at that point, it's just pretty much luck of the draw.
So it's a social event with a raffle thrown in, is what it really is.
Yep.
If they have any questions, they can go to Party and Poygan on Facebook, or Critters, or Woodeye Bar and Grill.
Perfect. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you joining in, and we'll catch you here this weekend.
Sounds good, Troy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right. So I appreciate Critter. And if you have any questions, call the shop, send me a message, and we'll do our best to answer everything we possibly can. Like we said, the ice. I've been out on Winnebago. I went and drilled Winnebago yesterday, just checking, and out on Poygan, Buttermore. The entire Winnebago system, for the most part, is sitting pretty good right now. I'd say on average, that 9 to 12, 10 to 12 inches, an occasional 14-inch spot. Bago has some really good, clear, hard ice. Once you get about 3/4 of a mile to mile offshore, on the west side, the rest of the main lake is just gin clear ice, crystal clear, and nice and hard. There are a lot of moving cracks and a lot of open water spots out on Bago, and out from by the mouth of the river, Menominee Park, over on the east side. A bunch of reports from the east side. I haven't been over there, but the west side is definitely moving. A lot of open spots, so just be careful. Go out, use the buddy system, and just if you don't know the lake, go out with somebody that does, or just stick to the bays. But The perch fishing has been absolutely incredible in the bays, guys. You know, Cowlings Bay, you know, Asylum Bay, down by Wentz, down in the south end. The biggest thing is just getting around. The ice is really rough. There's some cracks that you got to worry about. If you got snowmobile, jumping them is typically not a problem. But when we were out yesterday, you know, we really had to look hard to find a spot that we could cross with an ATV. And with the wind blowing as hard as what it was, and with this warm weather, stuff's going to start popping and moving around a lot. Where you went across may not be the spot to go across when you come back. So just remember that you may end up having to find some spots, or, you know, if you got some ladders or, you know, a couple ramps or something like that, that you can bridge one of the cracks, bring them with, because I hate to see somebody get stranded out there and have to get rescued, or have to drive, you know, long ways out of your way to get back to where you came from. Butamore, Poygan, again, same thing, that 9 to 12 inches. A lot of just really white, you know, the top 8 inches or so, 6-8 inches is just white frozen snow. It's not real hard at all. It doesn't have the flotation like, you know, normal, good, clear, hard ice does. But underneath that, you know, we've got anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of good stuff, depending on where you're at. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that looks sketchy. And it, like I said, it makes your ass pucker driving up to some of these spots. And I feel a lot more comfortable now than what I did, you know, a week or 2 weeks ago when we first got out there. But driving around, you're going to start to see a lot of spots that the wind had blown the ice and kind of just piled up, and almost looks like the river channel that kind of flows through, and it's all busted, and, you know, like the surface of the moon, or it looks like Mars, and it looks sketchy. But everything I drilled on all that stuff that looks bad was 10 inches or better. So it's you know, safe to a point. Again, this warm weather, and, you know, if we get any rain, just because it looks good doesn't mean it is. And again, if it looks bad, doesn't mean that it's bad. You have to go out there and drill and check for yourself. If you're in an area that doesn't look good, check it for yourself. Do not rely on somebody else's path or somebody's word of mouth. This is not the year to be playing around with what's going on with ice conditions. Some guys are asking, you know, 2,000 pound side by side. I've seen them out there. If you are going to bring it out there, you know, just stay clear of the spots, and I'll take some pictures tomorrow and just kind of post them so you can understand what I'm talking about. When the lake froze, we had all that snow, right? And then it just instantly froze once it got cold, and all the stuff that's 8 to 10 inches is kind of like it looks like cottage cheese, like a yellowish cottage cheese, I guess is the easiest way to explain it. And that stuff there is your thickest ice. And then all of a sudden you'll see some black spots that are crystal clear. That's really good ice. You know, that stuff's 8-9 inches, gin clear, hard as a rock. You don't have to worry about that. But then you're going to see spots that are pure white, almost looks like it has a fresh layer of snow on it. Now, you know, with this warm weather and whatnot, some of that stuff's probably going to melt, and you'll probably just go back down to ice. That stuff there is where all the little cancer holes that were open froze really late, and there's, you know, 5-6 inches, sometimes even 4. You do not want to drive on that stuff. You know, we parked a couple shacks and drilled some holes with our shacks on it, and even that, you know, water was just boiling up, you know, because that ice is weak and thinner. So when you have a bunch of thick ice around you and you've got a little piece of thin ice, it's kind of like a trampoline, right? You've got good surrounding perimeter, and then you've got a weak spot in the middle, and all that stuff is going to do is it's going to sink. And eventually, you know, 4 inches, 5 inches of ice can only sink so far before it breaks. So don't park on it, don't drill on it. Stay away from it, get off the edges, and it is a distinct line. You know, wherever that snow is, you can drill, you know, a foot away and go from 4 inches to 10 inches. That's how much of a line there is on those spots. And then, once you get, stay away from the obvious spots, the springs over on the West Shore, any of the river, the places that are going to have current, the eastern part of the lake over towards the cane beds, the Hindenburg line, where it goes from Lake Poygan into Lake Winneconne, around the point from the old Duck Inn. Stay away from that. Where the cut comes into Poygan, that was pretty thin. Up by the mouth of the river, you've got all that current coming through. Never a good place unless you know exactly what you're doing to kind of just stay away from there. For the most part, go out on Nofke's, and there's plenty of fish out on the west side of the horseshoe right now that just, get on top of some smaller schools and you guys will be fine. There's pretty much any hole we have drilled on that entire lake, we have caught a walleye. From the west to the east, north to south, it doesn't matter. Wherever you go, there are so many fish out in that lake right now. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's no trucks driving. There's no pressure. Granted, you get a little pocket of 25, 30 guys, and, they might school up some fish, and those fish will get tight and swim around. But if you have, good electronics, get off and find your own fish, and you'll be able to sit there and stay on a school of fish for, hours. They're not moving. That's the beauty part when you got a lake that has no vehicle traffic, is these fish do not get pressured, and it's a lot of fun. Jared and I were talking. It's fun to fish this year because you don't have all the vehicles driving around. So that brings us kind of to our next topic is, etiquette on the ice. And, it's frustrating being a guide on the ice, and, the people that really just, there's like no morals anymore. And it seems to be, and I'm not picking or pointing blame on anything, but, I've been out to North Dakota, I've been to Iowa, we've been to Minnesota, South Dakota. It doesn't matter. Wherever you go, you run into people that just look for other people and just go right in the middle of a group of guys and drill holes. And what's funny is, we like to pick on the people from Illinois for doing that in the boats, right? But Wisconsin is the worst when it comes time to etiquette on the ice. Any place you go, it doesn't matter if you're in Iowa or the Dakotas, Minnesota. There are so many Wisconsin people that just, they don't care. If they see somebody catch a fish with their binoculars, they're 5 feet from them in 30 seconds drilling holes, or heck, they're fishing in the holes that the guy that's, catching the fish is using. And it's just wrong. I mean, I don't know where people get the balls to even do that. I could never see myself using binoculars or, having somebody, catch a fish and a whole group of guys in a tight spot. If they're catching fish, great. They found them, let them go, let them catch them, and that's fine. I'm going to be someplace else looking for my own fish, and it's so much more rewarding when you can go off, find a school of fish, and sit there and not have the pressure or have to worry about drilling every 30 seconds to stay on top of them because they're getting moved around. I get it. People look for people. It's such a big deal on the Winnebago system. And they will go and bombard, and it's just kind of one of those things. Poygan's always been that way. But if you're going to do that, stick to the crowds. When we're out, and I really, this last weekend, we had a group of guys out, and we were off. There wasn't anybody within 2 miles of us. And these guys, not only did they come close, but they literally got, within 10, 15 feet of our shacks and right in the middle and started drilling and fishing. That's just wrong. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's a wrong thing to do. And people, you guys can hate me or say whatever you like, but I'm trying to run a business. I don't go to somebody's workplace and, if you're, I'm just going to say construction guy, right? And you're building a house for somebody. I'm not going to come in there and go to the owner of the house and say, hey,
I'll build this for you, cheaper, or, I'm going to get in the way of these guys and disrupt what they're doing. It's kind of that same aspect. Leave the guides alone, people. I mean, let them do their job, let them work. They're trying to make a living. And it's sad when people come up and get as close as what they do. I don't care if people come up and start fishing around us. I mean, I expect it, but there is a line that needs to be drawn for how people can get so darn close to other people. I get the main groups of people out on Poygan, the crowds, they're 10, 15 feet from each other. That's just the way it is. But I don't fish in those groups. I don't want to be part of that group. I want to be by myself. And you know what? There's some days we may not be catching fish. People will see us move and they'll come and drill and follow us. Every time we pick up, they'll move, right with us. And they will literally wait for us to move. And we've played games with some of these guys. They'll get out and we'll figure out that they're following us. And I've had guys, this is honest to God truth, I've had guys follow me from the gas station to the lake and from the lake out to my spots. They know where I come from. They know what I'm doing. And when I see that, if I see a guy's taillighting me all the way from, the gas station to the lake, I know what he's up to. And, we'll drive out, get our stuff set up, pretend that we're going to fish there and wait for those guys to get set up. And then we'll go someplace else. I mean, come on, guys, find your own fish, go out and have some fun and enjoy that part of, going out and searching. That's half the fun of what fishing is. And yeah, I mean, Tim had a guy drill 5, maybe 6 yards away from me today, right after landing a walleye. Uncalled for. I'm sorry. It's just, there should be no reason anybody should be doing that. Keep your distance and be respectful of anglers. I mean, it's getting out of hand. And I don't understand why people got to be the way they are that way. Bob's, I've drilled holes right next to guys literally within 5 feet of their holes if they hoard in on me. I'm an ass. Bob, you can come fish with me anytime. I need a big guy to keep us going. Let's see what Jared have to say. I was out today all by myself, no one within a mile of me. I looked up and a guy comes powering straight towards me over a mile away, drills a hole, drops the 360, and I asked him what's up. His response was looking for fish. Really, man, you spend all that money on electronics just to continue to follow people around. Exactly it. You guys got live scopes. You've got 360s. You've got the electronics. Go find the fish. Use them. If you don't, why? What's the sense of having all that stuff if you're not going to use it for what it's meant for? It's crazy. And I know, like I say, it's been going on forever. I expect, a lot of people, they know, my shacks, they know my truck, they know, what we're doing. And people come up and say hi and all that. That's great. Come up, ask how we're doing. I'll gladly, say, hey, we're just not on them, or, we're getting them. But, please keep your distance. Don't come and sit right on top of us and give my guys, the clients, some space. Not only are you disrespecting me, but you're disrespecting people that are paying to be out there. And that's not fair to anybody. I mean, I'm pretty thick skinned. I don't care. I mean, I might say something to a guy here and there, but I don't own the water. I get it. I'm not going to be that guy to be confrontational, but that doesn't mean that some of my clients might not get confrontational. I've watched some of my guys get right up in some of my clients or some of these guys' faces. And, they're paying me to give them an experience. And when some guy comes in and wrecks it for them, they've got every right to be upset. And if they want to go and confront some people that are doing this, that's on them. I mean, I've had plenty of instances where I just bite my lip and walk away. And the next thing you know, my clients might have a couple beers or a couple drinks in them, and they get up and they walk, and it's almost ready. It's like there's going to be a fist fight. Here we go. I don't want that to happen. It's happened maybe a handful of times over the past 24 years. But they've got a right to be upset, and it's just crazy that people think that it's okay to do that. Whether you're in a boat or, on the ice, it just doesn't matter. And I believe Minnesota actually has a law. I think it's like 10 yards or something like that, that you have to be away from another angler or can't drill in. But, I was reading comments and stuff like that this week, from posting pictures. And if you guys like, people that like the reports and stuff like that, I'd love to do it. The reason I don't shoot a lot of video anymore is because people figure out where we're fishing, and they come out and they will join and get right on top of us. So I'm not going to do that. And if you guys want to keep seeing the reports and seeing what we're doing and kind of helping you guys out, all I ask for is a little respect back. We're just trying to do a job. Yeah, that's what the guys, the guys that were on Facebook, they were talking. Just look for the shacks. You'll find the fish. Go fish by the shacks. Come up and say that to my face, and I'd love to meet some of these guys that say just go follow the guides. That's such a bad influence and such a bad thing to get these people to do. I did have one kind of a funny story. I had one client. We had a guy a couple years back that every time we would move, he'd be 10 feet behind us, literally 10 feet behind us. I'd drill a hole and I'd mark some fish, go get the shacks, bring them over. That guy would be right on our tail, and he'd drill in like he was part of our group. And one of my guys, he had a few drinks in him, and he wasn't going to have it no more. He got pretty frustrated, and the guy came over and got in front of this guy's face and started talking to him, and the guy was putting his head down, wouldn't look up. He knew, that's the other thing, is your conscience must tell you that you're doing something wrong if you can't look up and address the people that you're following. At that point in time, you know that you're doing something wrong. And this guy would not pick up his head. He's down there, he's looking at his locator, and my client's talking to him, and pretty soon the guy just starts going off on him. And he's like, you must be a Democrat just looking for free handouts. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. When I heard that, I'm like, hey, enough, time out, just walk away. And, it happens. And I've seen it, with other people too, people getting to pissing matches and whatnot out on the ice or in a boat. And, all I can do is laugh, but, just all I ask for is respect. I will give all the information I possibly can to you guys. I will continue to help. But when I'm out on the water working, all I ask is just, let me work, let me do my job, and I will continue to help you guys out. If it gets, starts getting really bad, I'm just going to stop. I mean, I don't get anything, for doing this. I'm not getting paid. I'm not, this is just an hour and a half every week that I take out of my time to help you guys out, keep you guys safe, and, try to educate as much as I can. And I just don't want to see that get ruined because of, people that just think they can, do whatever they want. And truthfully they can, but it's funny. Yeah. Yeah. There's some of the comments, always look for the crowds. It's a great start. Tim, that's such a wrong answer, man. The crowds are the last places you want to be, especially on a body of water that's only 6 feet deep. You can get close, but stay outside the crowds. Go find your own spots where it's quiet, and you'll do much better fishing. I laugh at all these people that just go to the crowds right away, and at the end of the day, you said, "Oh yeah, we got like 6 fish." Great, we caught 40. We didn't have to move. We stayed in one spot and didn't have to do anything because the fish were there. They were quiet. They weren't getting pushed. There wasn't 400 guys doing donuts and drilling holes and making all kinds of noise. You got to remember, guys, Poygan's pretty shallow lake, and that noise transfers, really, really well through that shallow water. Let's see. Troy posts coordinates of the open holes on the page. Yes. So I can bring them to the top on the open spots, the coordinates for out on Poygan. I'll bring them right to the top of the page, and you guys can, just put them in. But really, if you look at the lake, go off of Indian Point and come, I guess, east off of Indian Point, probably about a mile, and you're going to see a bunch of open water there. That's where the artesian well is, and it's flowing pretty good this year. The other open spot that's really big, now it's capped over, but there's not going to be but maybe an inch or two of ice on it, is going to be, if you go straight out of Nofke's and head east about a mile or so, it's dead center in the middle of the horseshoe, out, literally right dead center in the middle of the horseshoe, kind of in between Spruce Landing and Nofke's, and out probably, a mile and a half from shore or so. So again, I'll post the coordinates. They're out there. And if we run into any bad, other bad spots or whatnot, we'll gladly post the coordinates and keep you guys updated there. Let's see. Got limits in 2 feet of water on Saturday. Noise doesn't bother perch. The perch, the perch are perch. They don't mind. They're in that shallow water. They're going to cruise around, and there's such big schools of them that they've never really been affected by noise in that. But the walleyes and the white bass, most definitely, those fish they're spooky and they take off. So let's talk about fishing. Fishing has been fantastic. The walleye fishing is probably some of the best I've seen in many, many years out in the system. Now, granted, early ice, pretty much we get into schools of fish like this every year, and it's good until you start driving vehicles out. But this year, because the fact that there's no vehicles being driven out, the fishing is remained awesome. And there's a lot of schools of fish out there. There's not just the traditional 1 or 2 out in the horseshoe. There's fish scattered throughout the lake, west, east, north, south. It doesn't matter. If you go out and drill a few holes, you're going to find some walleyes. The great thing is that they're biting on jig sticks, and they're biting very well on tip-ups this year. Justin says there was an SUV on Poygan today. Would not recommend it. Absolutely not. Even some of the bigger UTVs, I would be very, very cautious. It's sketchy in some spots for bigger vehicles. Like you said, and Tim just agreed. And there are a lot of fish out in that system. We caught them all fall in the river, and I think they just moved out into the lake. And it doesn't matter where you go, honestly. There are a lot of walleyes out there this year. They're hungry. I'm not seeing very much for bait. Last year, we'd find big schools of bait fish on the 360 and on the Mega Live, and I'm not seeing that. All I'm seeing is pretty much just big schools of fish. And when they come in, it's been lights out. I mean, they're ripping the rods out of your hands. And what's really nice too this year is there is a lot of nice fish, a lot of 17, 18, 19-inch fish out there, with a lot of lower to mid 20s being caught too. We put some 22 to 24-inch fish back, plenty full of eggs, and very easy to tell that they're females, and it's good to catch and release. And for the guys that were bitching about the one walleye that the guy caught on the tip up, guys, it was like 30 below wind chill. You could take your hand out of the water and put it up in the air, and it would look like it was frozen. We caught, it was a 22, 23 incher. I recorded it coming out of the hole. We took literally, I opened his mouth, put my finger in there, popped the hook out, and had him pose for a couple pictures, and we did the release. It was less than 30 seconds, but it was that cold that any of that little bit of water that was on that fish looked like it was froze, and she went down in less than a second or so. And if you watch the video, watch at the end, she does a massive tail kick and she was gone. She swam away. That fish is plenty alive. It was not out of the water for more than 30 seconds. So I love all the haters out there. Thanks for commenting and viewing, because all that does is build more of an audience. So there's always got to be somebody that's got to be negative, and nobody can just say good job or congratulate a guy. Good job for putting them back. And That was his biggest walleye the guy ever caught, and I made him throw it back, and he was fully understanding. Those are the spawners. So, Sean, I don't worry about it. But people just, again, it goes back to respect and etiquette. Guys, we are outdoorsmen. We should be watching out for each other's backs and not slamming everybody that's out there. I'm sorry if you guys can't get out and fish. But that doesn't mean you have the right to attack other people. Let these people fish. They buy licenses and they follow the rules, and they're not doing anything wrong. They can do whatever they want. I'm not going to be the guy to control anybody, and I don't want any of you guys to control or feel the need that you need to control anybody. This is America. We are free to do what we like. As long as we are obeying the laws, I got no problem with anybody. Somebody wants to kill a 50-inch muskie and eat it, tell me what time to be there with the potato salad and tartar sauce, because I'll be there. I don't care. Let's see what kind of questions we got. Any fishing report for Bago? Austin, we kind of covered it early, but yeah, the perch fishing out on Bago has been incredible. Asylum Bay has been really good. Right in the bay, out in between the points, and then kind of out, in that whole, that 8 to 12 feet of water. That's been really good. Cowlings Bay, back, up to the north. There's, been guys fishing in the shallow weeds and out in the deeper, right on the very edge of the reef. Pretty much anywhere you go right now on the west shore, if you caught fish there in fall, there's perch there right now. It's been phenomenal perch fishing. Some days they might move out of there, but for the most part, the fish are around. Again, goes down to, granted, perch aren't as spooky, but when you get into some of these schools, I think more so in the deeper water and at like 6 to 10 feet of water, if you're finding any of those schools, those fish seem to be a little bit more spooked. The fish that are in the weeds, they don't really care. They're just kind of cruising around in there and, constantly swimming circles, and you'll be fine, and you'll find plenty of fish. The nice thing is too, is you can sight fish them. Water's pretty clear out there, and bring a flip or a hub and close your windows and let the kids stare down the hole and catch some fish. I have not done any walleye fishing out on Bago yet, just because of the sketchy ice. My snowmobiles, if anybody knows anything about skidoos and is willing to help me put a head gasket on a 1200, I do need to have that done. So my riskiness of jumping water and jumping cracks is a little bit limited right now, because of not having a snowmobile. I don't trust my ATV to cross a bunch of cracks. So I haven't been risking a whole lot of travel, doing as best I can with the ATV. So that's what I know for Bago. I've been spending most of my time up on, on Poygan and over on some of the smaller lakes out here, chasing panfish, bluegills and crappies and whatnot out by Watoma. So that's that. Critter did mention, the pike fishing has been really good. Guys that are setting up pike in some of the bays and over on the west end are starting to pick up some really nice pike, getting really good numbers and big fish. It's good to see that that size is coming back again. A lot of fish in that mid to upper 30s again. So if guys are looking to go throw out a bunch of tip ups, start to grill, cook some food, have a few beers, this would be a great time to go do that, because the fish are biting well. Let's see, any working cracks on Poygan? Ethan, there's a couple cracks out there. I wouldn't say they're really working. They will. I mean, with the wind and the warm weather, stuff's going to pop. It happens on any body of water. Once you start getting some warmth, stuff, expands, contracts, and you'll see some stuff starting to move, and any bit of wind and whatnot, and you'll see a little bit. But for the most part, everything that I've ran across on Poygan with my ATV, I've been able to cross no problem. I might have to drive a little bit, but I've been able to find spots that are pretty solid. No major, real big working cracks. Bago, on the other hand, has a ton of them, and they are moving constantly. A lot of, really wide. If you tried to jump it with an ATV, you'd sink. So just be careful. If you don't know, and if you're heading out to Poygan, if you don't know or haven't been out there, you don't have trails to follow, wait till it gets light and then venture out. But, I don't recommend anybody out just going out in the dark and expecting to see where they're going or know where they're going. It can still get pretty treacherous out there. So that's that. Let's see. Out here over in Waushara County, a lot of the lakes just froze last week. They had stayed open through all that snow and whatnot, and we've got as little as 5 inches, as much as 10. I'd say the average is at probably 6 to 8 inches or so, just enough to get some wheelers on. But still, be careful on some of these deeper lakes, just because of the fact that it just froze. And it'll be interesting to see how all these lakes can sustain. We don't need any of the rain. Please, please, please keep the rain away. I wouldn't mind a little bit of snow right now. But we don't need any rain. It's going to be warm enough, and that's that's going to be detrimental the way it is. Let's see. Yeah, Scott. Just talking about that. The forecast isn't good. Guys, we're looking at. I seen. What do we got here? Just an updated weather report. So tomorrow 36. Let's see. Tomorrow high of 36, low of 33. A little bit of light rain. 37 and 33 on Thursday. 40 and 32 on Friday. And then 39, 30 on Saturday. 39, 28 Sunday. 38, 28, 42, 32, 45, and then it's 45, 45, 48, 45, 44, 45. And then towards the 5th and 6th, it looks like we get a cold spell with some snow that they're talking about. But hell, I don't go that far out, man. These guys, these weather people, they can't predict more than 3 days. So just because it's forecast right now, I'm not going to believe it yet. We've seen this way too many times where, they're talking 50s and then it drops to below 0, or, they're talking rain and then we get 2 feet of snow. So, I don't get all wrapped up about it. Yes, it's going to be warm. Can we do anything about it? Absolutely not. Be mindful of the landings, keep your vehicles off the landings, try and park on shore. That'll just help prolong how long we can get out there, because the last thing we need right now is, during a warm spell, and we always get a January thaw. It happens every single year. We get the January thaw, and then February, gets cold again. And typically by the end of February, we've got our best ice. Just so happens to be that we've had a warm winter so far. We're going to have an extended warm period here into February, and then hopefully it gets cold and we can, build up that ice again and have a good rest of the season, hopefully into March. So we'll cross our fingers, but again, we're guides. We're not God. We can't control the weather. We can't control Mother Nature. We can't make fish bite. All we can do is go out there and have fun and try not to worry about it and do what we can. Let's see. I'm up in Ladysmith. Working ice is still not great up here. What's crazy is, we live out by Watoma, and I've seen more snowmobiles in the last week than I have in the last, 10 years because they don't have snow up north. The trails are closed, and the trails down here are in incredible shape. At least right now, I can foresee them probably shutting down the trails here in the next probably 2 to 3 days, probably by the weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if the trails are closed. But it was good while it lasted. A little boost of business to the bars and whatnot, and all the hotels were full. And I had a lot of friends and people from up in Monaco, Eagle River, northern Wisconsin come down here to go snowmobiling, which is crazy to even think that you can't snowmobile up in the Northwoods. But so yeah, just be mindful of that. Try and preserve the landings best you can. Let's see. Winnebago just posted closed trails. Yeah, it was inevitable. I mean, I was looking at driving alongside the highway. The trails that were alongside the highway today were pretty beaten and getting to be pretty muddy. So Good thing that they close them before they get too wrecked. And hopefully, like I say, we get some cold, we get a little bit more snow, and we can have a nice long rest of the winter. Just for your guys' information, I will be gone the 3rd through the 11th. We are headed to Puerto Rico for a vacation. So there will be no reports. Jared will be out fishing. He'll be running some of my trips for me. But I will be in a warm spot, not here ice fishing. We had this trip planned for quite some time. And last year was the first year. We typically go down to Mexico or go someplace warm for a week around Super Bowl. And we didn't go last year, and going to go this year, but we're going to change things up and go try something new. So, oh, Bob, there's a lot of ice in Puerto Rico. It's going to be in my my drinks. That'll be for sure. I know, Justin, right? It's warm here. No need to go. Yep. And what'll happen is we'll come back and it'll be, 20 below, 30 below, and it'll be 100-degree temperature change. So that's what we got, guys. Party on Poygan this weekend. Enjoy it, have fun, bring the family out. If anybody's looking, we still have a little bit of room for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and through next week, if anybody wants to get out. I've got a couple guys on the books for the week or during the week, but if anybody wants to get out, please get a hold of me. I've been doing a little bit of better deals for guys that want to fish midweek, and we'll get you on some fish for sure. Definitely walleyes if you want to do it. This is the year to catch some walleyes. If you want to go chase some bluegills and some perch, we can go do that too. So best thing to do is just shoot me a message on Facebook or through WhatsApp or my phone, text me, whatever. Anyway, I will respond. So I appreciate everybody joining in, and hopefully we gave you some information tonight that you can use, and keep praying for ice. And, if you guys are looking for any gear, now's the time to go visit your local bait shops. I can't stress it enough. These guys are dying. Anything that you can do to help support your local guys right now helps. I know you got Brian down at Bait Box on the Rocks, or on the rock down by Fort Atkinson. You've got Critters. You've got the Real Shot, the Sportsman. All the Ace Hardwares out in Toma and Coloma, and or Wisconsin Rapids. Sorry. Kurt's up in Minocqua, all these little guys that rely on local people to shop with them could really use some help this year. Please try and do your best. Even if you need to buy some early presents for next year, help these guys out if you can. Ripping Lips over on the East Shore, Bill Lodi. Let's see, we've got Corey at Fishtails in Oshkosh. You've got Fox River Bait and Tackle. Someone open up a bait shop in Enid, please. There used to be, Joe, is there still a bait shop down on Main Street? I think it was in one of the bars or on the back sides, maybe back by the Nina Slough, if I remember right. There was always somebody over there that had bait. I haven't been over there for so long that don't know if it's still open or not, or where guys can get bait in Nina. Bob got a float suit, new shack, and E40 from Critters. Hey, Bob, thanks for supporting him. Critters a great guy, and he definitely assure you he appreciates your business. Let's see. That's, I think, all I got, guys. I am going to sit and watch a little bit of the news and get stuff ready for the morning, and we're going to head back out to the lake. So if anybody's out, good luck. Stay safe, stay dry, and Frank, you should text me your number or message me your phone number, Frank, so we can stay in contact. Gladly help you out and do the same or whatnot. So we'll go from there. Appreciate it, gentlemen, and gentlewomen, and have a good evening, and we'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.